What's happening, troops? How are we all doing? As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, that I am by myself, and as you will gather if you're only listening, that I am here by myself. I've banished the rest of them. I've decided that the quality is in the gutter. I'm going solo. My ego has become that big that I have now decided that this is a one-man show, and I'm kicking them out of the curb. I'm only joking. I'm only kidding on. We holiday, work, life. We're looking to try and make sure we get some content out before the international break. So I'll jump on now, talk about yesterday's narrow 1-0 defeat at Ibrox. We'll go pick through the bones of that, which, to be honest, was a fairly decent performance, opening 20 minutes aside. And then we can review and look back on Thursday night at home to Heidenheim in the Europa Conference League. Lost 2-0, but again, maybe it's happy clapping, maybe Tam's had an influence in me. Plenty of positives to pick the bones out of in terms of the performance. Talk a bit about where we are with this. Is the first sort of break that Neil Critchley's had, opportunity to implement some of his ideas, work on the things that we haven't improved. I was doing some reflection, having a look back on Neil Critchley's opening first 5 games in the league, which just takes us to this point now, versus Stephen Naismith's first 5 games, because they have an identical points tally, they have an identical win and loss and drawn tally. So just had a look at the games and the performances and what are the identifiers, because the mood music at Hearts it seems to be a lot more positive right now. People seem happy that things are moving in the right direction, so I'll try and give my opinion on where I stand on that and what I've seen so far. And yeah, I'll maybe talk a bit about some of the stuff. I thought that the atmosphere on Thursday night for a big European game, if you're a long time listener to the podcast, you'll know that I have bemoaned the atmosphere for a long time at Tynecastle. I've been active in trying my best to help, whether it be with the club, whether it be with groups, whether it be with ideas, displays, or whatever. I'm trying my best to not just sit and moan about it, but it is something that doesn't seem to be getting better. So we'll talk about that. How do we improve it? Are my memories of supporting Hearts overhyped, from the glory days and big European days, and your memories? Because my memories of big European games are all when I was young and impressionable and maybe naive to what was actually happening and what was actually going on, versus now I'm older, more angry, so maybe I'm more pick things up differently to how they actually are. But yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we'll have a bit of looking into the future with the next round of fixtures upon us as we head into a notoriously difficult part of the season. But actually, if we coincide with where we were this time last year, it was actually the kickstarter to their season. Second international break, came back and went on a run that seen us really streak light years ahead of everybody round about us. And absolutely insanely yesterday, had we won it, Ibrox, we would have only have been 7 points off third. Any form of victory yesterday would have taken us into the top 6. So again, we'll just look at what that looks like. Alrighty, I put some question. I put into our community chat that we were doing this by myself and asked if we could, if anybody had any questions, so that it's not just me rambling. And so far, I've just had people bring up pictures of me when I was a wee boy, battering me for my dress sense and the fact that I used to have a mullet. So I'll try and answer any of them if they come through. So yesterday, Hearts went to Ibrox to play a Rangers side that aren't in great form, but are still a good side. So yeah, I think starting 11 now is becoming one of the things I've been most impressed with Neil Critchley, is the fact that we do have a settled squad now. We have a 16 that seems to be week after week after week, and they'll rotate within it, which is a much, much healthier number to rotate than the starting 11 roulette that we become accustomed to. To be honest with you, we've been accustomed to that now for 8 years, because Craig Levein and Ian Catherall were of the same mindset. Rotate, different formations, different styles, depending on who you're playing. We've been used to having Danny Amankwa be out for 13 months and then suddenly start for 2 games and then fall off the face of the earth. Again, Jake Mulroney was the same. Like, we've been used to this kind of Saturday match day, hour before kick-off, what's happening? We're going to get sideswiped with something left field here. So one of the biggest ticks and positives that I've really liked about Neil Critchley is that he's sticking to that core group where he's got the results and performances that he wanted and required. So starting 11 was no great surprise. The rotated players rotated as you would expect. Benny, if I was to have any bone to pick with anything, but it makes sense given that he's been injured, but keeping Benny fit is going to be essential to anything that Neil Critchley looks to achieve at Hearts, because I think you've seen on Thursday night and you've seen at Perth when we beat St Johnstone that Benny gives us something different in there, and we need him. I think we need his football intelligence, his ability to get us up the park, to win the ball back and keep us fluent. Benny is essential to that. But the downside to that with Benny is that he can't stay fit. We can't get a consistent run of games out of Benny. He went down on Thursday night, and then obviously he sat out yesterday. Didn't start the match, so that would be the only thing was to get some consistency out of Benny. But a typical start at Ibrox. I think we've conceded in the opening 5 to 10 minutes at Ibrox, like 5 out of our last 7 visits there. So it was mightily disappointing. Just the manner and the goals. That's what I really hope the next 2 weeks we can spend some time in. It's just the manner and the goals that we're conceding. We're not being cut open. It's not fast, fluid football that's sometimes hard to play against, and sometimes you just have to accept that, like the 2 goals that the German team scored against us on Thursday, sometimes you just have to say, fair enough. They were both brilliant headers and nice, fast, flowing football that cut you open, and sometimes you just don't have an answer for that. Sometimes it's just quality. You just have to say, right, fair enough. They're a good side. That was well played. But the Rangers goal's just rubbish. It's just poor. Lack of intensity, lack of pressing, positionally not good, and it was just too easy. And I think that's been the story of our recent series against Rangers. I think yesterday took us now to 17 games without a victory. Going back to when Bozanic scored, I believe, in the Scottish Cup, the 1-0 victory against Steven Gerrard. I think that was the last time that we beat Rangers. And you watch Rangers against Aberdeen, rubbish. Watch them versus Kilmarnock, rubbish. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing that we haven't taken something from the game, because from, like I said, minute 20 onwards, I think we've dominated the ball completely. I think we get over 50% possession. We created good chances. Kenny Vargas. The annoying folk are highlighting Lauren Shankland, and I'm not going to stand here and, not standing for a start, I'm not going to sit here and defend Lauren Shankland and pretend that Lauren Shankland is in the form of his life, because he quite clearly isn't, right? He's not where he was in terms of the goals, but there's loads to Lauren Shankland's play that states that, he's not a bad player now, but the chance for Vargas where he hits the post, for me, that turn, the hold up play and the pass from Shankland isn't getting that back from anybody round about him. And that's the one thing I'm hoping that those combinations, I'm hoping that that's what Neil Critcher can work on in the 2 weeks here, is to try and get the ball falling to the guys that we know can score goals. Now that's Shankland has had his fair. He had the pass pack the pass back from the keeper at St Johnstone where he snatched at it, and then the chance on Thursday night where they've won the ball back and he snatched at it. I think that it looks like he's carrying the weight on his shoulders. You can see, you heard his interview after the game on Thursday. He kind of blamed himself for the chances that we missed. But again, I thought that we dominated the ball. The game plan's great. And the thing I'm loving the most is that we've not thrown caution to the wind. That's not true, because that's a disservice to what the management team are trying to do. But they're sticking to their principles. I liked his comments after the game about, Hearts, we're all pre-programmed. Every one of us yesterday probably breathed a sigh of relief and went, thank God we didn't get battered, because we've conceded early and we've seen our teams capitulate at Ibrox. And we're all kind of, you can see that one of the things he's sort of trying to drive home is that outlook, that mindset's got to change. We've got to change if we want to be a football club that goes and does stuff. And I think that's what I liked about yesterday, was he didn't say that he was pleased with how things went. He says he was pleased with aspects, but we didn't win the game, and that's what he's here to do. And he's not going to just show up to places and try to be hard to beat and stuffy, and not. He's going to go and play our game. And to be honest, we've said it numerous times on this podcast, and folk listening, and you'll have said it yourselves all the way in pubs and clubs and buses and cars and the way home from games, going to games, is you just want Hearts to do their best, play their best, try their hardest, and if it's no good enough and falls short, then fine. It's not good enough and it falls short. And we fell short yesterday, but we shot ourselves on the foot. You can't miss the chances that we missed and then not be punished, and that's what happened on Sunday. It's what happened on Thursday. Rangers are a bit of a mess right now. They look like a team in transition. They've lost. They also have a giant on their doorstep that they can't handle. Their rivals are light years ahead of them, performing in Europe, performing in the league, stranglehold every single trophy, and have what we have over Hibs. They've got that voodoo sign over them, and every week they're knowing that they're going out to play and they have to win, because Celtic aren't dropping points, and add to it now Aberdeen aren't dropping points. So I felt that they were there for the taking yesterday, and I think that we created enough to do something. We're just lacking that quality in front of goal right now, which again kind of sums up where we are right now. If Vargas could score, if Shankland could score, if Frankie Kent could start scoring 3 headers, then you would be right up the league, right where Rangers are and Aberdeen, in my opinion, because even under Naismith, the performances, although not amazing, they weren't absolutely dreadful. We still had moments in the games and chances in the games that we haven't taken, and then we're being punished. So there was lots to be positive about yesterday without happy clapping and settling for mediocrity. I think the positives for me is you can see what Neil Critchley is trying to do, and he's stuck to it. Stuck to his principles, stuck to his philosophy, stuck to his shape, and stuck to the squad that he's beginning to trust. So yeah, it's pretty positive in that. I think that, like I said, we need to work on 2 things for me. One is putting the ball in it. You don't score goals, you can't win football matches, and Lawrence Shankland was the absolute beacon of that last year. The amount of goals that he scored that helped us win matches, win points, snatch points, whatever it may be. But the rest of the team have got to step up as well. They've got to start taking their chances. I think Spittle is our only real, well, that's unfair, Forrest as well, are our only real goal threats right now. And Forrest is massively frustrating. The thing I like about Forrest is he tries. He tries his best. It's not always going to be high quality, but he does try. And he's got a goal in him. But you can't miss the chances that we missed yesterday. The Vargas two chances are criminal at this level. He has to be scoring. He has to be scoring at least one of them. Give ourselves a fighting chance, and it's that thing. It's a house of cards at Rangers. I think if we score yesterday with the performance that we were putting in, the amount of the ball that we had, and the way that we were playing, I think the crowd, the atmosphere, I think you kick on there and go and potentially try and get a winner there. So disappointed not to win, but again, Hearts managers, rightly or wrongly, they're not going to be judged on how they perform in Glasgow against Celtic and Rangers. We've got such a horrendous record there that, now don't get me wrong, we have to change that. But I think that the approach and the attitude that Neil Critchley showed yesterday to those matches, that's how we change that attitude. That's how we change it. We go there with belief. You draw into the players that we can get something there, and we go and impose ourselves and try and play our style of football. You know, we've watched some of the best Hearts sides that we've ever assembled go and get battled at Ibrox. So losing there yesterday is nothing new. It's just a wee bit disappointing because actually we played pretty well, and probably could have and should have got something out of it. The final bit, obviously, there's one. Last week, Rangers played Motherwell in the semi-final of the League Cup. They were 1-0 down at half-time. There was 7 minutes added on time at the end of the first half. They played nearly 8 minutes. And then however many they played at the full-time whistle, which was maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So they've had 11, over 10 minutes of added on time. Hearts are a goal down yesterday, chasing the game, and we get 3 minutes of added on time. We win a free kick on the edge of the box, and the referee blows for full time. Very strange, very strange. And I think Critchley was right to question it. But these are the things that the club, they can't just accept. I'm not saying we were cheated. There's no some big conspiracy theory or whatever, but we have to be consistent. When was the last time you seen 7-8 minutes added on at the end of a first half? Versus when was the last time you were at a game and it was only 3 minutes added on? Given that they're now each team can make five substitutions, it was crazy, and the confusion at the end was completely and utterly daft as well. So, but no complaints. We were where I thought, like I said, Critchley faced up to the media after the game, and what he spoke about and what he said was bang on. So no complaints for me. We move on to the next game, which is Celtic at Tynecastle, which is going to be a 7:45 kick-off on a Saturday night. Looking forward to seeing how we go, because Celtic yesterday really struggled with how direct Kilmarnock were. Now there's a few ways in which you can play direct, because Celtic play direct, and when I say direct, I mean that they're right at you. There's no possession for possession's sake. They just go at you. They're constantly trying to attack you. And Kilmarnock did the same idea yesterday, but they were direct, as in they were in pardon me, they were in Celtic's faces. They were aggressive in their passing. They were free up front. They were trying to get bodies up and supporting their front players. They were aggressive in midfield, trying to win the ball back. They played a high line, so they squeezed Celtic up the pitch, and it really genuinely made it pretty uncomfortable for Celtic. Now, they had an off day, Celtic. They weren't at their fluid best 100%, but still, that's what I'm looking at when you think that we're at home, how we've played in Europe, how we've been looking to set up. I'm looking forward to seeing how we go, now that we're trying to play on the front foot, more aggressive with more tempo. It'll be, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be exciting. The caveat to where we're at is, and it ties into Thursday, is that the club and the hospitality lounges again, we've been lucky that we've played two MK Dons type teams so far, where they've got inoffensive fans, but Euro lounges selling away tickets to those fans. I know that it makes the club money, but they were singing, they were chanting, they were celebrating. There were fans in the Wheatfield, there was fans in the Roseburn, there was fans in the main stand. You put in Hearts fans at risk, because if a Hearts fan reacts, it's them that's going to get a criminal record, it's them that's going to get a fine, it's them that's going to get banned, it's them that's going to get arrested, and they shouldn't be put in that situation. The Hearts fans have bought home end tickets, they're sitting in the home end, they shouldn't be sitting next to away fans. Club have to do something about it. We've got away with it in Europe, and understand there are maybe slightly different regulations in Europe as to why that's happened. But on Saturday when we play Celtic, the Strongbow Lounge will be full of Celtic fans. The Gorgie Suite will be filled with Celtic fans. They will be openly celebrating their goals. They'll be openly celebrating victory if they win. We've had tricolours and the Pope flags in Section N for the folk coming down for the hospitality suites when the full-time whistles have went. We can't have that. That's not fair on the Hearts fans. It's not fair on Hearts fans. You can't boast that we're locking Celtic and Rangers fans out and then bend over backwards to sell them hospitality tickets. The club has to do something about it. Saying, no, they need a buying history and is not good enough. They can buy a crap ticket for a tenner, knowing that they might secure a ticket for a title decider or a title party or whatever it may be. Club have to do something about it. So that was my 2 pence worth about the Celtic game at 8 o'clock at night. So Heidenheim, Tynecastle, match day 3 of the, is that right? Aye, of the Europa Conference League. We lost 2-0 against a very good, let's be honest, a very good team that they're on a bit of an arc right now. They're on an upward trajectory. But I thought we gave a very, very, very good account of ourselves. I thought the first half especially, we played phenomenally well in the first half. You look at, just to rhyme off the chances, the Shankland one where we've won the ball back and he snatched at it. You're looking at the Penrice one where he cuts inside and blazes it into their end. Shankland is literally standing on the 6-yard box unmarked. He's got a tap in. Alan Forrest went close. Frankie Kent's header is the worst out of the lot. He does all of the hard work to get there and somehow manages to head it wide. Yeah, he's stooping. Yeah, he's diving, but he's done the hard bit. He literally just has to power the header forward and it's in. He tries to place it and you miss it. But even in the little half chances, a pass here again. We have this thing right now where we're in the box, we're trying to take an extra touch, we're trying to beat a player, we're trying to make that yard of space to get the shot away. It's just not falling for us in the final third. But I thought the first half was everything that we want. Malachi Boateng, and there's someone that listens to this podcast or follows our podcast feed on Twitter, NS something or whatever, he's got a Scotland flag as his logo, who is either a Dundee fan pretending to be a Hearts fan and he's bitter that we signed him when he was after his loan, but he constantly says that Boateng is rubbish, that he's terrible, he's the worst player on the park. Boateng was phenomenal against Heidenheim. He has been phenomenal for Hearts. What he does is so underappreciated and underrated. He's outstanding. Him and Penrice have been the 2 best signings, with Spittle now motoring towards showing that he's up there as well. But Boateng has been great. The fact that it's now, he's almost the first name in the team sheet, and then does Benny or Devlin play inside there, and it's beside him as well who's favoured and what type of player do we need in there. I thought Boateng was absolutely brilliant on Thursday. I thought Benny was brilliant as well. They were great at winning the ball back, getting forward, taking a man on. Just Benny's calmness and vision is brilliant, and Boateng on Thursday was bursting runs forward in that as well and linking play. So it was really, really good to play, good to see. I thought that first half was, again, everything that you want. Second half, I think we were just naive, if I'm being honest. They have probably been battered at half time by their manager. They were 10 yards too deep, not aggressive enough, not in our faces enough. They changed it slightly tactically at the start of the second half. And again, we all know, if you're a long time listener to podcasts, you'll know that we battered our pre-season preparations. The team's not fit, right? You can see that. The team's not fit. It's not conditioned well enough. It's not match sharp enough. You can see that. And I'm not saying making excuses. I'm not saying we're completely gassed out. But we started the second half in the opposite fashion as to how we started the first half. We tried to grow into the game. We tried to settle and be a bit stuffy, and it played into their hands because they came out and were more aggressive in their press and they were higher up the park. And again, if you're looking at it in isolation, yeah, it's two balls into the box, two headers that we've not dealt with. And again, I've said before that if you go back to the group stage season where we played Riga and Fiorentina, the type of goals that we were conceding then are the same type of goals that we're conceding now, but they're in completely different circumstances. You know, the Thursdays one's disappointing because you're looking to grow into the second half and play how we played in the first half, but actually it's a brilliant header, it's a brilliant move, and they've took a chance. Sometimes there's nothing much you can do about it. You can nitpick, we should have been closer, we should have tracked the runner, we should have got tighter. I get all that, but sometimes you also have to step back and say, that's a good goal. If we'd scored that goal, we'd be waxing lyrical about it. And the thing that impressed me the most, again, from that was that you could see the attitude of the team, the manager, the changes were, well, 1-0 or 2-0, what does it matter? We have to try and win the game. We've got to try and get back into the game. And we went straight 4-2-4. The substitutions that he made, he put Spittle and Devlin into the middle of the park, and we literally went 4-2-4. And that was it. We went to try and go win the game, and we huffed and puffed without anything really clear cut and obvious. Falling to us a few half chances here, and then we get caught chasing the game. And again, I'm not massively annoyed at that. That's Europe. It's European football. You watch Arsenal absolutely battered Inter Milan, got beat. The Man City get beat 4-1 off Sporting. In Europe, it's a different kettle of fish. And what we've said before is that I didn't expect to win every single game in Europe. It's not what being a Hearts fan is all about. But what I wanted to be different this time to when we were there the last time, just wanted to give us an account of ourselves. Go and play the way we want to play. Go try your style, your formation. Go play how you want to play. Go put a marker down. Show folk that this is. We plan on being here for a long time. We want to play in European competition every year. We want Tynecastle to be a venue that people look forward to coming to but are scared to come to because of the atmosphere, the aggression of the team, the aggression of the crowd. And I thought that the team definitely done that on Thursday. Crowd, not so much, but we'll talk about that in a little minute. But yeah, the performance on Thursday was great, and the conceding the goals in which we did, that's just Europe. I remember we beat Bordeaux in Bordeaux, it was fantastic, and then I think they scored two absolute worldies at Tynecastle to win the game. You're in a European competition. There's levels to what we're dealing with, and I think that was just a bridge too far on Thursday. A very, very hard lesson for the team to learn. You've got to take your chances. You've got to take your chances at this level. But we gave a very, very good account of ourselves. I thought we played very well. So again, I've got no complaints with the overall performance. Again, like I said there in the intro at the start, the atmosphere, I don't know what it is. I used to sit in N when I was younger, when it was the old enclosure, the main stand, I used to sit in lower end, and everybody stood, everybody went mental when we scored, and there was singing in there. If I don't know if that travelled the rest of the stadium, if it made the whole stadium was rocking, but there was definitely something about the main stand and the old main stand, the wooden floorboards, people stamping their feet along. It felt like when Section N sang, everybody was singing. Then we moved over to G, myself and my dad. About the Burley season, we moved to G, and again, you're in G, everybody's standing, they're singing, banging on the back shutter, all that sort of stuff, and it feels like everybody in the stadium's singing. It feels like it's absolutely rocking. I now sit behind the goal at the opposite end in the Gorgie, and if we stand silent, I can't hear G or N other than as loudly as I hear the away fans. Everybody in between Section X behind the goal, N and G, everybody else in between, there's nothing. There's literally nothing. Now I've seen Fred's moaning about the Ultras only sing their own songs and they don't join in. I'm there. We sang for 10 minutes because I grew up that was this was a traditional European song. We do the twirly, people sing this on European nights, everybody will join in. We sang on repeat for like 8 minutes, Silvery Moon. Everybody knows the words to that, everybody knows what that is, and nobody joined in. Nobody. And it's like, what are we doing? We sing kick off, Heart song, up until a point and then it stops. Then the Europe song, and then it stops. Because we even sing the Europe song till we get to the middle of the second verse. We'll tie our scarves around the funnel. We're overseas, the house will be Portobello. And everybody just stops singing that middle bit. And then all you'll hear is, now, the end is near, full tarts. We've just sung this song. We've literally just sung this song. I don't know what we do. I genuinely don't know what we do, because 3 years ago when we were in Europe and we moaned about the atmosphere, people would say, well, the players have got to gear something. They've got to gear something. The style of play, we have to have something back for the players. Well, now we've got the style of play. We are high press, aggressive, playing with a tempo, and there's nothing. There's no reaction. There's nobody. No one joins in. There's no singing. I watched the Celtic game against Leipzig. Now, yeah, I hate Celtic, but I'll take it all out of the equation. Fine. But whenever Leipzig had the ball, booing. Everybody booing them. Boo them on the ball. But then when songs start and everybody starts singing, the stadium sings. Everybody joins in. You'll never walk alone. Everybody's got their flags up. Everybody's got their scarf up. You look at Thursday try to do a twirly. There are people that didn't do it. They didn't do it. They're not doing it. They just clap and stand or whatever it may be. And it's almost like the people that are in between N, G and X are going, well, it's up to them to make the atmosphere. It's up to them to get involved. The club have to do something about it. Those images are beamed all over Europe. I said on one of the group chats that we have that I watched all the European football highlights. I watched the Champions League highlights. I watched Europa League highlights, and I watched the Conference League highlights. Every stadium, flags everywhere, big banners all the way around the park. The teams coming out to fireworks and pyro and all that, like as in safe pyro, like firework fill stuff. When we were the Romanov era, and you watch Hearts come out. It's the B team that do the UEFA flag hang. There's a couple of big Hearts flags that are under the Undercroft and the Wheatfield that are all covered in mould, and the badges of mould that the ball boys wave at one side of the park. There's no big flags. There's nothing. The European football. This is us supposed to be puffing our chest out saying how happy we are to be there, and we're not just football tourists. We're there because we want to be there and we want to be there forever. Even the light show stuff. How much is it to put maroon filters on the lights? Genuinely, how much? It can't be that expensive, and if it is, Tell the fans we'll fund it. Like, flicking the light switches on and off to make it look like a light show, it's no. Like, if you're going to do that, do it proper. Get the maroon filters, get maroon and white filters, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, and do it proper and make it a match day experience. Look at Aberdeen. Aberdeen employ now officially a full-time match day experience guy. They've given him a budget, and you look at, they've had a tifo and a display every game this season. They have safe pyro going off, they've got fireworks going off, their stands are filled with flags like war flags with Newcastle. We have to get active. We've got to stop being so lazy and get involved. The team need it. The team want noise. They want aggression. They want the players that we're playing against to feel intimidated when they're at Tynecastle. Now, again, I don't know if I've just got the wrong impression of what Tynecastle was, but growing up, that's what I remember it being like. I remember playing Liverpool at Tynecastle and feeling like we never stopped singing for 90 minutes, and folk on the telly were talking about the atmosphere being outrageous and what an experience and all that sort of stuff. And now it's, like I said, a cheer for the teams coming out, and then a couple of traditional songs, and then nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had 2-minute silences in both the games, which have sucked the atmosphere out of anything that we do. But I think that we've got to do something. As fans, we have to understand and appreciate that we have a role to play on these games. Start of the second half, is it flat? Did we start the first half? Because there is a bursty song, there is singing and atmosphere and excitement and aggression at the opening 10-15 minutes. Then the start of the second half, smoking, vaping, pies, peas, everybody just coming back. It takes about 5 minutes to get everybody back into their seats. Is that what the problem is? Is it just flat from that? And then the tannoy as well. I know we keep talking about it. Folk, you see it online, and I'm not trying to part at anybody. The boy's doing the best that he can. He's been asked to do a job. He's doing the best that he knows. But what he knows is Hampden and international football in the Tartan Army. It's a different kettle of fish. I think the montages that were playing before the game are rubbish. There's one European goal montage. That's it. Yeah, it's some grainy photo of Ian Ferguson scoring versus Bayern Munich. There's no goals versus Stuttgart. There's none of the Bordeaux goals. There's none of the Bau goals. There's nothing in our European history, the Templeton goal at Anfield or any of that. It's like Ian Ferguson, and then it's Cammy Devlin's goals against Rosenborg. It's just, I don't know what to call it, lazy, because I don't think it's lazy. It's probably just cheap. It's a cheap option. But where are like interviews with the team, the manager, ex-players talking about European nights, fan interviews talking about their best experiences or whatever it may be, the song choices? Can we bin Hey Jude and Levels? Get over it, man. Get over it. No one hears that song and goes, oh, 2012, 5-1. It's like, right, we get it. That was 12 years ago. Get over it. The Hey Jude stuff is the most monotonous song on planet Earth. I know some people maybe get angry with that, but it really bugs me, the Hey Jude stuff, because it sucks the life out of everything, and it takes ages to get going, and it's just no song to come out to. And then Shalala, the Venga Boys tune, because the Ultras sung it 2 years ago. Like, there's just nothing about it that builds you up. There's no hype. You know, I keep talking about it in the community chat. We constantly get the ladies' derby goals on repeat because they're trying to sell tickets for the ladies' derby coming up at Tynecastle. There's nothing about the fact that Petro Club isn't sold out. There's nothing to say still get tickets for the next European home game or blah blah, or still get tickets for the Celtic game because they're still available, or this week away game is still on sale. There's none of that. There's none of that stuff. There's nothing. It's the railway advert and then some montages of goals. And again, I have absolutely no idea if they're trying to wind us up, but the guess the season or the goals on Thursday night, a European home game, where if we'd won, we were almost pretty much qualified. We were showing goals from Ian Cathro's first season. A season where we finished 5th. What are we doing? The game before that, the Guess the Season game at Kilmarnock, it was a 2019 season with Uche. And the guy was like, oh, the fond memories of Uche. No, we didn't. No, we don't. We finished 6th. None of us have got fond memories of Uche. Get those seasons in the bin. We don't want to be watching it. We finished 3rd by an absolute canter last season. Let's look at that season. Why don't we look at the season where we finished 3rd under Shaba Laszlo or Jim Jeffries or any of that's like actual memorable things. We have a absolute litany of goals against Hibs. Play derby goals on repeat. Something that gets us buzzing. No watching Don Cowie and Jamie Walker versus Rangers for 15 years ago. Anyway, well, I didn't think I could still get angry when I was just by myself, because essentially I'm sitting in a room by myself howling at the moon, so there you go, I've impressed myself. But aye, atmosphere, it's got to get better. I don't know what the answer is, I don't know what the solution is, but we have to do something. I can't help but think that the club, I've said it before, repurpose the stands, say, listen, everybody that wants safe standing, singing, all that stuff, it's behind the goals now. The Gorgies where you want to go, we'll do ticket swaps, we'll do waiting lists, we'll do whatever it is. I'm going to make the Gorgie Suite a fan zone where you can drink before the game and come out into the stand because of the doors for the Gorgie Suite. It's going to have safe standing in it, displays, rope and pulley systems, hundreds of flags. That's the stand that you want to go to if you want like an away day type atmosphere at home. And then repurpose the rest of the stadium for what it is, because we need it. We need it. Like the full Gorgie lower is like 700 tickets. So get that safe standing and get people that want to stand and sing, get them all in there. Get the stand behind it, the sections behind it filled with people that are like-minded, and see if we can make a difference getting away the atmosphere at home games as much as we possibly can. So, there we go. Now, like I said before, the mood music around Neil Critchell's pretty positive, and I'm pretty positive and buzzing around it as well. It's a very, very similar opening 5 games from Stephen Naismith. When Stephen Naismith took over, his opening 5 games, 2 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. Same for Neil Critchley. I think Stephen Naismith, we scored 10 goals, conceded 7, 1 clean sheet, picked up 7 points. Under NC, we've scored 8, conceded 5, 1 clean sheet and 7 points. So very similar in terms of where we were at when Stephen Naismith came in. And the thing that I like, there are parallels between them both, because when Stephen Naismith came in, what we seen was what we're seeing with Neil Critchley now, which was we played a much more aggressive tempo. We were higher up the park. We were in people's faces. But obviously with that drained out of Stephen Naismith. So it'll be interesting to see how Neil Critchley keeps that going, because like I said, the moon music is much more positive under Neil Critchley than it would be if we were still under Stephen Naismith and we got the points tally that we have now. But the thing is that we do have to start to see some improvement, and it's not a criticism of Neil Critchley. There are loads of mitigating circumstances that are out with his control. Team's not fit, we know that. It's devoid of confidence, you can see that right throughout the team. We need a couple of results, some back-to-back results, something to get a bit of momentum going. Right now it's been stop-start because it's Europe, then an away game, Europe, then a home game versus the Old Firm or something. It's hard to get momentum going. We also, it feels like we've not played any home games. Every single time I watch Aberdeen, I'm like, how are they at home again? How many home games have they played this season? Because it feels like we only played any, but actually, when you realise we've played enough home games to be on more points than we have now, we've just blown it versus Dundee United, Kelly and Ross County, which is not acceptable for any Hearts team. So we're hoping we've got Celtic, Aberdeen and Dundee, I think, all at home in the next wee blasty fixtures. So you're hoping that we can get some points on the board, but I think that's what we're saying, that we have to see improvement is we've got to stop conceding goals. You can't win football matches when you're a goal behind. I know that sounds pure obvious, but it's true. We need to sort that out. Again, I don't know if it's a Craig Gordon problem, if it's a back four problem. I don't know if Xander Clark's going to be the saviour. I don't know, because none of the goals that Craig Gordon's conceded in the last couple of games have been anything that really Craig Gordon could have done anything about. But there is something there. There is something about the way Craig Gordon plays that does not causes a bother. That's not true, but it's not conducive with what Neil Critchley's trying to do. I remember games against like Fiorentina at home where they press us high up the park because Craig Gordon can't kick the ball. So they'd press us to the point where Gordon would take a short by kick to Rowles or Halkett, whoever it was, and then they'd be pressed all over the back four, that they'd eventually give it back to Gordon, and Gordon would punt it because kicking's atrocious, so he'd never get it past the halfway line. And then they win the ball back or second balls. They've got their whole team in our half, and that's what they were pressing us forward. And that's where we're at when we need a sweeper keeper to play the type of football that Neil Critchley wants. Gordon's got to be 20 yards further forward, so he's an out ball, so he can pass and move the ball forward without it having to go between the two centre halves to get to the right back, between the two centre halves to get to the left back. We need that. Look at Casper Schmeichel, look at Joe Hart, where they play, look at Butland. They play higher up the park because that's what they're there for. And then the kicking as well needs to be accurate. I know it's been something he's been blighted with his whole career. He's never been blessed with being brilliant at kicking the ball, but it is something that you notice that, there was points on Thursday where we move the whole team over to one side of the park and Gordon's kicked it clean out of play or kicked it into the middle of the park where no one is. It's like, what are we doing? So that's a conundrum he has to fix. We have to get to the bottom of that, because as it stands now, I actually think we're staring down the real possibility of actually losing both our number one keepers, because Craig Gordon will at some point have to retire, given his age. I know he doesn't want to, but we're not, and we need a replacement, and Xander Clark's not going to stay doing the doggy shift, sitting on the bench. So we have to address that. We have to address the conceding the goals. The back four works in terms of getting forward. Penrice has been phenomenal, and we're starting to get a solution to the right back problem as well. But there is something about there that makes us vulnerable. We are conceding too many goals. One clean sheet's not enough. We need to work on that. And then, as we said at the start, the clear deficiency is goals. We need more goals. We need Shankland to start scoring. We need Vargas to start scoring. We need to start creating chances where they can. But especially Shankland. Shankland needs a tap in. When was the last time seen Hearts get to the byline, cut the ball back, and somebody was there to tap it in? Do you know what I mean? We need to start getting to that area. We practice it every single pre-match routine. That's what we do. We need to start bringing them to life in the games and scoring goals. So hopefully that's what's on the agenda during this break that we've got now. Alrighty. There you go. I think I've rambled enough by myself. Normal service will resume with the rest of the boys when they're back. We'll probably try and do one next week, just if there's anything that pops up in the world of Hearts between now and then. I'll let you know. But anyway, thanks. I'll see you next week. Corgi Rules.